Okay, this is going to be a review video on a Condor product. This is the Condor Michigan Axe. Let me give you a close-up of this. This Condor Axe is pretty amazing. Came with a decent handle. I'll talk about that in a minute. But has a really good sheath with it, like all the Condor products do. Has a really good head. Michigan pattern is one of my favorite types of axes. One of the most well-rounded axes, in my opinion, that you can buy. So that would be a great head. The handle that came on it was a little bit thick for my liking. It was just a little bit too big in my hands compared to what I normally like, and it started to come loose after some use, not a ton of use, but some use. One outing, it started to kind of come loose. Now, I don't necessarily fault Condor for this. If you guys have had problems with that, maybe it is a problem, but they're in a lot more humid climate where they hang these than I am. I'm in southern Utah. Right now we're up backpacking, but I live in southern Utah, which is an extremely dry environment. And a lot of times if you hang the axe in a moist environment and then bring it to a dry environment, it's not uncommon for the head to come loose as the handle dries out. So, I have no doubt that if I'd have sent that back to Condor, they would have rehung it or sent me a new axe. But like I said, the handle wasn't necessarily to how I preferred it anyway, which isn't really their fault, but it's just a matter of personal preference. So I just rehung it myself on a new handle. So this is not the handle that comes on the Condor Axe, but this is just a handle that I hung it on, the one that I prefer the shape and size and feel of a lot better. But as far as the head goes, it's been excellent. It came not very sharp. I had to sharpen it. I always put a pretty detailed convex grind on my axes, so they're extremely sharp and they stay that way. And so that's kind of what I think of this. For the money, this is 50-60 bucks, somewhere in that area. I say you'd be hard pressed to buy another hand forged axe or a forged axe for that kind of a price. Even restoring one for that price, even if you can find one, which is hard, at least in my area it is. It's going to be hard to do it for that kind of a price. So for the money, if you're looking for a good bush axe, this for the money would be an excellent one. Let's do some chopping with it, so you can kind of see. I've done quite a bit of chopping with this axe. We'll just chop into here a little bit. This is kind of punky though. Maybe I'll get rid of this branch maybe right here, and we can kind of chop that over or something like that, so you can kind of see it in action here. So let's go like this. Just get rid of some of this stuff that's in my way here. Okay, I think we can get into where I want to be now. So we'll stand, break some of this stuff. You want to make sure you have good footing and stuff when you're using axes, so that you don't hurt yourself. Okay, so we'll chop right into this area right here. This will be a good one. It drives pretty deep, cuts pretty well, it buries itself in quite well due to the edge that I put on it, honestly. But this is pretty dense wood. So, see, it chops quite well, and the edge That was pretty dense wood. Had knots in it, had a branch growing right next to that one. And the edge retains very, 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 very well. I mean, at this point you could still, let me grab a piece of something here that came off of that and see if we can't do another chore that you'd want to do with an axe here. So we'll go like this and kind of limb all this stuff off. And say we wanted to make a tent stake or something like that. Any other bush crafting task you want to do with this. Ooh, this wood sucks for this. This is definitely not a 3-strike stake, is it? Honestly though, for most things, that tip I got on there right now would be just fine. So, puts a good tip on there. On all my stakes, I usually kind of round off the top of them a little bit. Then they don't fray out as much when you pound them in. Okay, so you've got a stake there that, you know, any other bushcrafting tasks, pounding in stakes. Let's pound this in right here so you guys can see it. So it works. Obviously, very well for doing that. It's got a good hammer pull on the back of it. Like I say, it's still quite sharp. You could carve with it if you needed to. Obviously an axe is not going to be my preferred. You choke up on it right here and it will carve, make feather sticks, you know. An axe is, like I say, not my preferred tool for that, but you need a tool to be able to do everything. So you guys are shaking a little bit, you're in a bush. And so yeah, that's what I think of the Condor axe. Say a lot of axes, the handle's personal preference anyway, so the fact that I had to change that really is not too big of a deal to me. It might be to some people. Some people might say, well, it should never come loose, but it really does depend on your environment. If they hang it back east where it's humid and they send it to southern Utah where the humidity is like less than 1%, the odds of your handle coming loose are probably about 100%, even from Grand Forks Brooks or somebody like that. So that's just how it goes. So the axes are best hung in their environment. So that's my axe right there. I like it quite a bit.